How could we not talk about two things that are kind of going on at the same time here in response to the election of Donald Trump as president of the United States? We are seeing demonstrations in the streets, angry college students, it appears, marching on campuses, marching on freeways. Not my president. Meanwhile, we're also seeing places on college campuses where you can come for comfort, where you can come and have a cry-in. It's at Cornell University in New York, which is a pretty prestigious campus.
That's Ivy League.
It is Ivy League.
In fact,
that wasn't far from where we worked in Elmira.
In fact, the universities that have the students that are having the greatest emotional crack-ups are the Ivy League colleges and other elite universities. It seems the students at these universities are the most sensitive and the most emotionally unstable.
They were having difficulty dealing with the fact that Donald Trump has won the election. We could probably spend the entire show reading some of their quotes from this story. Let me just pick one out randomly. There was a woman apparently at the University of Michigan, Trey Boynton, director of multi-ethnic student affairs.
There's a job. The director of multi-ethnic student affairs. What does this woman do? When you get up in the morning and you're the director of multi-ethnic student affairs, what's your day like? What do you try to accomplish? What's your service? What are multi-ethnic student affairs?
I guess anybody but white people. I don't know. People are frustrated. They're really sad and shocked. There's a steady flow of students entering her office. They spent the day sprawled around the center, playing with Play-Doh and coloring books, right, looking for comfort and distraction.
Now, let's examine this.
She actually compared this to how people felt after the Orlando nightclub shootings. Are you kidding me? And have you heard people say America's greatest tragedy, 9/11, followed by 11/9? You haven't heard that one yet? That's making its way around Twitter. Yes, the day after the election, it was as bad as 9/11. What are you out of your... Well, what a weak country. What a really weak place.
This is mental illness.
This snowflake thing, you're right. I think it's mostly college students.
It's out of control.
Who were just...
Now, can you imagine that you pay... University of Michigan, that is an expensive school.
Very.
And
although it's a state school, right?
Yeah, but if you're out of state and you want to go there,
yeah,
that's a lot of money. In fact, all these colleges are a lot of money. Yale, Brown, all these snowflake palaces.
That's a good word for it.
You walk into the multi-ethnic student affairs office.
The center, yeah.
And there are grown men and women because
18 to
19. 22.
Right.
So they're laying on the floor and they're coloring in coloring books and molding Play-Doh because they're so aggrieved over Donald Trump becoming president. Playing with Play-Doh at 21 years old and coloring in coloring books and crying. How did this happen? Their great-grandfathers went off to fight the Nazis in World War II.
Nah, we're weak.
And look what happens 3 generations later. Woo!
I feel like saying, ISIS, come get us. Because we're just very weak. If this is the young people, they would have to fight the war, technically. Listen. Although usually people on these gold campuses never have to fight wars, right? This is what she said. This is this woman, Trey Boynton, director of multi-ethnic student affairs in Michigan. There is unspeakable shock at the manifestation of hate and bigotry that is on par with how people felt when Orlando happened, when Charleston happened. This feels different from those events, but there is the same sort of heaviness today on campus. Everyone's very quiet. It looks like grief.
Over Hillary? This is over Hillary Clinton? This is over Trump? Seriously? Grief?
Grief.
It's the same as when 50 people got slaughtered in Orlando? It's the same as when people got slaughtered at a church in Charleston? Are they out of their minds? Yes, they are out of their minds.
But it's also at that on par with
the heaviness.
Morgan Polikoff, a professor at USC, the Rossier School of Education, canceled his class Wednesday. He told the 11 students in his PhD statistics course that they didn't have to come in if they didn't want to. By the time he woke up, 6 said they weren't up for meeting today.
Morgan Polikoff at USC. you don't have to come in. If you are grieving over the presidential election, please stay home. Please just mold your Play-Doh, color in your coloring books. Maybe we'll send a therapy dog over to your house. Good Lord. And you know what? And all the adults buy into this. There are people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, administrators, professors at these colleges, and they're indulging it, embracing it. Yes, yes.
At the University of Pennsylvania, which, by the way, that's where Trump went. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He went to Wharton. I couldn't literally get out of bed, said sophomore student Amanda Agayapong, a psychology pre-med major from Ghana. But she said they're making the campus a safe space for us today. Staff at colleges and departments across Penn were reaching out to students to help them cope. They're setting up informal meetings for students to come and share their feelings. Campus groups are forming panels.
Well, look what she said.
Their feelings.
She said Penn's Black Cultural Center offered to host a lunch, so she decided to go. They're making it a safe space for us today. I never heard him say one thing negative about blacks. Not one. I see gay people quoted in these stories. I know for sure I never heard him say anything about
I
gay
guess it's
people.
just solidarity with what they believe are other picked-on groups, like the Muslims and
so they're
illegal immigrants who commit crimes, which is specifically what he picked on, illegal immigrants who commit crimes, more crimes.
I know. Who's he talking about? In the context, he was talking about criminals who come here illegally, and he was talking about terrorists that come from other nations. And now it's been whipped up into this hysteria. And now students can't show up for class. They're grieving. They're crying. Wow. How would they have taken on the Nazis? Because the Nazis were a lot harsher than a few rough comments.
Maggie Mulhern, a freshman mechanical engineering major at Drexel. Well, that sounds like something substantive. It just feels like the nation didn't care about us. It's scary. He can just say, I'm going to grab a girl by the pee, and that's accepted. It shows you the rape culture that's prevalent in this country.
The rape culture.
Yeah.
Yes, the rape culture.
Yeah, rape is out of control.
Yep.
Wow.
They just, this stuff has taken hold, taken root in people's minds. It could be not true. It could be extremely, wildly exaggerated. And it is now a fact of life that torments them every moment of the day.
When we come back, we'll talk about the therapy dogs, because that popped up in Washington, D.C. for government workers.
These weren't just college adults. These were real adults. And they're earning money from the taxpayer. And they're so distraught. You know, this is where all these people ought to be cleaned out. If I was Trump and I saw this today, I go, I said, give me the names of these workers who are sitting on the floor playing with their therapy dog and ripping off the taxpayer.
They're too weak.
Because these guys would be on the fast shoot out to the street.
And we also got some pretty good audio of outgoing U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer appearing with Chelsea Handler, and they cry together over the defeats of Hillary. Who, by the way, we'll talk about this. Is she going to go into the Al Gore dark hole for a while? People are wondering if she's just going to disappear and
grow a beard
and mourn and play with Play-Doh and grow a beard. All right, more coming up.
She's going to get really fat and grow a beard. John and Ken Show, KFI, and Heather Jordan is news.